I'm Kelly Galanis, the Director of Operations and Donor Relations at STCC, and we're happy to bring you the final installment of our series, Spring into Wellness, tonight. We thought we'd end with a little namaste, and we are so happy to have Sheila Magalhaes from STCC, a graduate, class of 1980, and owner of Heartsong Yoga. She's done a great little video for us to kind of help us relax, learn some techniques, that sort of thing. And then after the video, we will be having a live Q&A with Sheila. So I just wanted to say hello, Sheila. You want to say hello to everyone here?
Yeah, hi everybody. I have some family members here. One of my cousins is visiting. Hi, Elise. My mom's trying to get on right now, but she got that same message I did that said it was another device. So I just forwarded her the new link. So maybe there's some people who are looking, but hopefully she'll pop on. Hi, Carol. Nice to meet you, everybody.
Hi,
I hope that you'll enjoy the class. You can do it from a chair. You could get down on the floor. You can just listen to what I have to say, however it feels good for you. And, you know, hopefully you'll hear something that's interesting to you and that will help you to feel well and healthy and excited about the new season ahead. Okay?
Thanks, Sheila.
Yeah.
Sounds perfect.
Kelly. Thanks.
So relaxing, right? Like I'm already relaxed just listening to you. So this is good stuff.
She does have a calming voice, doesn't she?
And the good news is, if you aren't going to follow along tonight, you just want to watch tonight, it will be recorded and we'll have it on our STCC YouTube channel, so you can check it out at any time and do your practicing, you know, if you didn't want to be on camera or whatever that may be. Before we kick things off, I just wanted to thank our gold sponsors. We have the Collins companies, Bay State Health, and Smith & Wesson, who without them, this would not have been possible. So we are so grateful for their efforts and sponsorship of this event. So we are looking forward to fall's lineup. We are looking at some planning our theme and that sort of thing. So if you do have any thoughts or suggestions that you'd like to see, please send them my way and we will certainly give them consideration as we move on. And of course, I would be remiss in not doing my job if I did not say, please notice the sign next to me over here. Stick Gives happens this Thursday. It is June 3rd. It is our day of giving. We are just working with folks to see if we can build a little bit of our scholarship and programming funds for our students, and a way to celebrate them as we are actually having our graduation parade that day as well. I'm guessing this is your mom. Yay, she made it. That's awesome. So please join us if you can. If you'd like to make a donation, Stick Gives Day is the day to do it. And more information will be at stickgives.com. So do check that out. But without further ado, we'll roll the tape. Thanks so much, guys. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, my name is Sheila Magalhaes. I am the owner and director of Heartsong Yoga Center in East Longmeadow, Mass. And I am thrilled to be a part of the Spring into Wellness virtual event and offering some yoga practices, mindfulness, breathing practices for stress reduction, relaxation, holistic health and wellness. I'm a proud graduate of STCC. That was the class of 1980. And somewhere around the 90s, after about 11 years of working in silkscreen printing industry, I left that industry because of the chemicals in the workplace. And shortly after that began my family, my beautiful family. And through exploring different ways that they could be healthy, that we could be healthy, that we could have these ways of living our life so that we could find that holistic health and that vitality, I came across yoga and fell in love with it. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about why yoga is important. It's about 5,000 years old, passed down through the centuries. Here in our 21st century lives, yoga is even more important. And the ancient yogis who are exploring the body-mind-spirit connection, their work now is being validated by science, which is saying, yes, these practices work for things like strength, flexibility, balance, mobility, vitality. Excellent for digestion, elimination, circulation, blood pressure. Even more importantly, in these days, as we've come out and are coming out of quite a challenging past year, for PTSD, for trauma, for anxiety, for depression, right? These practices work because they bring up joy and happiness and help you to clear and quiet your mind, calm your nervous system, and just make you feel all around better. And you don't have to have science to tell you that you're feeling better. You just know it as you practice over time. And even this tiny little introduction that I'd like to offer you might help you to feel a little better. So this is for everybody, right? You don't have to be perfectly fit, perfectly healthy. You don't have to have background. You don't have to be athletic. All you have to do is have this willingness and a curiosity to explore. So what I'll do is I'll invite you to take what I call a comfortable seat. That could be in a chair. It could be down on the ground. You could sit on a cushion, prop yourself up a little bit. Or you could just listen to the words, listen to what I say, and take it in that way, and maybe return to it again and again. So I will invite you to take a comfortable seat. And I sit cross-legged, okay? That is kind of a traditional way to sit, and I've been doing this for, almost 30 years. So this is okay for me, but you might need to stretch out a leg or prop up your knees or something that helps you to feel a little more comfortable when you're seated. You don't need a mat. You don't need any special equipment. You don't need any gear. Yoga is so simple. Maybe just a space that might or might not be quiet. It doesn't have to be all Zen. One of the things that we think about when we come to take the seat is posture. And one of the challenges that we have in our world is, you've probably heard it before, they call it tech head, right? People are like this, bending over their phones, over their computers, over their work, right? Sitting, so much sitting, especially over the last year, so much sitting. So we want to reverse that. And what's happening there is you're pushing up against gravity. That's always pushing you down, right? So you want to rise up, which would mean the chest and the sternum comes up a bit, the shoulders draw back a bit. There's a little engagement at the belly, right? And sometimes that's challenging because we're not thinking about it so much, but this, we call it core strength, drawing in the navel center. And you're imagining that there's like a thread from the crown of your head up towards the sky. And it lifts you up like a marionette. And then there's roots that put you down into the earth, because one of the most beautiful bits of philosophy in yoga says, get your attention to present time. Be here now. And one of the things that creates so much stress and anxiety in our world, in our body and mind, is that we're always worrying about what's going to come next and thinking about the stories, the conversations, the what ifs, right? And what happens physiologically is that if you're living in the future and that future is challenging, your body responds with the same stress hormones as though this thing were happening right now. But it's not, because it's a fantasy, it's a story, it's an illusion, it's not there, it's the future. The other thing the mind loves to do is go into the past. I should have done this, I wish I did that, I meant to say this, I took that turn, not this one, oh my gosh, I forgot to turn off the oven. Whatever, it's always like, what was back there? So the yogis say, sit down, put some roots down, take a breath, and be present. Because this is the reality, this space, this time. And then I'll add one more thing, which is when you're in the present moment, and this is the real place to be and the only place to be, everything is okay, just as it is, right? We say, all is well, trust that. So when you hear those words and you hear them regularly, they get kind of hardwired into your body, and that feels good. And you start to shift your perspective, right? Glass is half full, not half empty. And you can refill it if you want to. So posture is so super important, rooted here and now. I put my hands on my lap. Sometimes they're on my knees. Sometimes I have to hold myself up. So choose what's right for you. And then I'd invite you to close your eyes and listen, or just look like soft past the tip of the nose if that feels safer for you. And when you do that, you're bringing your attention inward. So all of the distractions and the stuff outside can start to fade away. The next thing that you bring your attention to is your breathing. And I know that feels or sounds kind of funny because, well, we're breathing all the time, right? We're alive, we're breathing, right? But we're not thinking about the breath. And when you're stressed or hurried or rushed or anxious, the breath is up here. It's in your collarbones. It's like, it doesn't even go down. The lungs are giant. They're huge. They're like, in the most simplistic way, like 2 giant footballs. That's how big they are, the 2 lobes. 3, well, more than that, but you know how that is. This is just simplicity. Big lungs, and we don't use them. We breathe up here. Other ways that people breathe that can not be quite as healthy is in the mouth breathing, right? And it just dries you out and makes you tired and yawning and sighing and like that. So I'm gonna invite you to close your mouth and breathe in and out through your nose. And that might feel different, or it might feel soothing and comfortable, but try that. Just letting the breath come in and out through the nose with your eyes soft closed. And the breath might even sound a little whispery, like just a little bit of softness as it goes down, slows down the breath. The inhale, the exhale. With a relaxed jaw, eyes, shoulders back, crown lifted. And I have a beautiful kind of invitation to breathe this way from a teacher. His name is Thich Nhat Hanh. And this is called Peace is in Every Step, every step. He is a Vietnamese peace activist, author. He's a poet, and he's in his 90s now. So he says, present moment, wonderful moment. So just with your eyes closed and settling here, take in his words. He says, in our busy society, it is a great fortune to breathe consciously from time to time. We can practice conscious breathing not only while sitting in meditation or yoga, but also while working in the office or at home, driving the car, sitting in a bus, wherever we are throughout the day. He says there's so many exercises we can do to help us breathe consciously. We can recite these 4 lines silently as we breathe in and out. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in this present moment, I know this is a wonderful moment. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. It's an invitation to be present and using the breath like a lifeline to be in the present moment. So you feel that breath come in and you notice it and you feel it and you celebrate it. And then as you sit, I'd like to invite you to think about something, this is really super important, that you're grateful for. Because gratitude can help shift everything in your day. And having a daily practice of gratitude is another thing that the scientists have proven helps to uplift you, make you feel better, brighter, lighter. So instead of focusing on the things that you don't have or that you wish you had or that you wish you were, you appreciate where you are, right? And you can really settle into that. It could be something really big that you're grateful for or something super small and sweet, and then tuck it into your heart. And then we'll begin. Take a big breath in. And exhale as you drop your head down, chin towards the hollow of your throat. And you're just stretching out the back of the neck, right? And the head's super heavy, just let it hang down. You see, we carry a lot of tension in the neck, shoulders, upper back. So this helps to alleviate some of that. Lift your head up, draw back your shoulders, and look up, lifting your chin towards the sky. You can even stretch the throat and stretch the jaw. You can make a face. You can scrunch up your eyes. And then bring your head forward and down with your chin tucked towards the hollow of the throat. Take a few half circles from shoulder to shoulder. And again, you can follow me, watch me, or maybe you can listen and have your eyes closed. Later on, we'll open eyes and make sure that you're upright when we get up on our feet. But for now, these warm-ups, they're very sweet and comforting and comfortable. And as you move, if you come into a place that's knotted, tight, sticky, don't blast through it. Don't push. Just lean in, breathe into that spot, right? It's just enough. There's no expectation. There's no judgment. There's no finish line. This is just that experience. Perhaps you can lift the shoulders a bit and have your head fall back. Sometimes that feels really good, and other times you just slept wrong or moved in a certain way or did a lot of work that brought in that tension. But this often feels really good just to go back and forth, back and forth. And then take the head over the shoulder and down and just let your chin rest in the hollow of your throat. Take your hands, lace them behind the back of your head, and cup the curve of your skull, and let's curl down again, right, into that flexion of the spine. We want the spine to be mobile and free in all directions, but not stuck in just one position. Inhale, come up. As you do, squeeze the belly in a little bit. Press the heart forward. Tip your head back. It doesn't matter how far you go. You don't have to do what I'm doing. It's just, again, an exploration. Be curious. And then look forward. And stretch your arms up alongside your ears and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and get really tall and long, and then flip the hands around and open the wrists in that way and slip from side to side like there's like a tropical breeze in your room, right? Maybe you're lucky, maybe you're doing this with some family members or friends. It's really nice to be in community, to be with other people, but how lucky are we? We can do this virtually through the power of technology. I feel really blessed to have that this year. Now pause for a moment, get really tall and long, and open the arms to the side, and then, side bending, right hand down. Whoops, I'm gonna go this way. And the left arm across and over. And then come up to the other side, a big breath in, and exhale, bringing some space into the side ribs, right, into the intercostal muscles that really love this stretch. One more time each side. Inhale, exhale. The breath is long, deep, even. A little Buddha smile on your face, and then the other side. Good. So we've gone forward and back, side to side, and how about a twist? Take your left hand to your right knee and your right hand behind your back or at your back, and then lift up out of the waist so that your spine is nice and long, and peek out of the corners of your eyes, like you're trying to back out down the driveway, right? Which is one of the reasons why oftentimes folks who are a little more elderly have a hard time keeping their driver's licenses, because they just don't have this mobility. You want to juice the joints, right? Come to the other side, inhale, exhale, and be as free and mobile and pliable. It's not really about flexibility. Don't worry if you feel tight. That's all right. We're all super tight. Ooh, sometimes you get a little adjustment while you're at it. Come back to the center. Then lift your shoulders to your ears and squeeze them back and slide them down. And one more time, lift them up, back and down. We talk about carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders. Sometimes it feels that way. So imagine you're shrugging something off of your back, up, back, and down. Stretch your arms to T. Wriggle your fingers and circle your wrists around. Years and years ago, when I first started teaching yoga, I'd say, drop your pens and your pencils. Let go of your paperwork. And now it's like computers, right? Cell phones. This is the chance to unplug, man. You are unplugging. Things are quiet, right? Minimizing distraction. Bring your fingertips to your shoulders and roll the elbows. So we want to bring that sense of pliability, mobility into the shoulders and the shoulder girdle and the shoulder joint. And how many of you know or have had your own shoulder challenges? It's pretty common in our world. And go in the other direction. So this brings blood supply, synovial fluid, right? Oxygen through that deep, full breath, every cell receiving the gift of your practice. Now take your hands and reach them out in front of you, and as though you're saying, like, stop, right? And then turn the palms down and circle the wrists around again, especially if you're sitting at your desk and doing a lot of typing. This is a great break that you can take. Right? Bring the palms together and lace them, and then flip the palms forward and lift your arms up overhead one more time. Notice if you stop breathing, if you're like concentrating or listening hard. And keep the breath in and out through the nose. Open the arms out to the side. Unwind your ankles if you haven't already. Whew. And then shake out your legs. Shake them out. Okay? Just make a little noise, a little drumming on the floor, and then point and flex your feet. Look at your toes. Now that might feel like it's super simple. Like, what's this all about? But maybe you haven't paid a lot of attention to your feet, ankles, Achilles, unless you have foot difficulties, which is, again, something that people can sometimes struggle with. So you want to just be able to have that movement and pliability in the feet, same thing, because it helps you to walk on uneven ground, both physically and metaphorically too. Bend your knees. Your feet are flat on the ground. Drop your knees, both of them, to the right. There's a twist. Look over your left shoulder, deepening the twist. Bring your knees up across to the left, and then look over your right shoulder. And we talk about do this again, across and over. The movement's not just being about muscles, joints, tendons, ligaments, but also about internal organs. So guess what? Your belly loves the squeeze. So as you twist and look over the shoulder, your internal organs, especially digestion, get this little squeeze and release. And we know for sure that better digestion equals better health, right? You go so far as to say detoxification. There, and then bring the soles of your feet together. This is called bound angle pose. So the word yoga is a Sanskrit word. The practice comes from India, the Eastern cultures. So Sanskrit is the most ancient language in the world. It's a beautiful language. So yoga has English and Sanskrit translations, which are super fun, but you never have to learn them. But the word yoga itself means union, to join or to yoke together. And just think about all the parts of you, especially body, mind, spirit, heart, bringing them together. So this is called Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. You sit up real tall and take a little forward fold. Don't round your back. Stare way out in front of you. If you're following along, stare way out in front of you. Shoulders back, belly in. And this is going to move into the groins, inner thighs, hips, low back. And maybe in places that I don't name for you because you are unique. You have your own experience. This is your practice. Do not override your sensibility. It doesn't matter if you go forward a lot or just a little bit. Okay, that's really important. Come back up again and bring your feet together. And then wrap your hands around your knees and just drop your head. Okay? Sometimes it feels like the belly gets in the way. That's all right. Just make a little adjustment. Right? It doesn't have to be a big super squeeze. And then just rock a little bit and keep your eyes cast downward. Okay? Continuing the practice of tuning inward. The Sanskrit word is Pratyahara. It means sense withdrawal. So just kind of quieting the senses, quieting them, and moving from whatever is surrounding you to what's happening inside. And then come to the center into stillness. A little core strength. Lean back a bit. Hold the back behind the backs of your legs. Lift your shins, level to the floor. Look at your toes, and maybe you can let go. That's fun, super fun. Hold. Maybe you have to hang on. That's all right too. Right? The correlation between the belly and the back is very strong here. Boat pose or Navasana, and you hold. And you breathe and you smile because it's, just making the shape in your body. Hold behind the backs of your legs. Cross your right ankle over the left. Pull your heels in. Drop your hands to your lap and close your eyes for a moment. And I'd just like to invite you to check inside and notice if anything has shifted for you. You might feel a warmth, a flush, the heartbeat, like really feeling your heart. The heart is the place, the home of the foundation of yoga, which is care and compassion, loving kindness, and forgiveness. Okay, so besides ever having to do a fancy pose or twist your body in a crazy way, the practice of yoga says, be here now and be kind. Okay? So take a big breath in, exhale, let it go, and we'll come on to hands and knees. So this is kind of a traditional trajectory of practice. You start seated, you get to hands and knees. There's a few things we can do here. We'll get up onto our feet, come back down again, and then take a little rest. So on your hands and knees, spread your fingers wide, press into the pads of your fingers and the edges. This is a very classic movement called cat-dog curls. So follow along. You lift your tailbone, and you look up, and your spine dips, right? And your throat, chest, heart lifts. Dog stretch. Opposite of that is called cat curl, and maybe you can see why. Pressing up between the shoulder blades, arching your back like an angry cat. Inhale at the tail and look up. So lots of the poses are named after what you see out in nature, right? And then round your back. They say there are as many yoga poses as there are species on the planet. But we'll just try a few of them. One more time, inhale, and you're connecting your breath with your movement, which is another part of this practice. That's very powerful, connecting breath and movement, so you're not just blasting through your practice. And rounding, Halloween cat. Take your right leg, stretch it straight back behind you. And then if you can, find one spot with your eyes kind of out in front of you, and your left arm reaches out, palm turns in, thumb up. This is called flying cat. And we're talking about core strength, balance, stability. And where's your mind? Keep coming back. Bring your hand down, bring your knee down, press back your left leg. The heel is pressing out, the toes are dialed down, lift the chin a little. And if you feel ready, and you might choose not to, but if you can, reach your right arm out, palm in, thumb up. Don't move your eyes. The most, I guess I'll call it the secret power of balance, is a steady gaze. Our world says multitask, do 5 things at the same time. Yoga says just this. Bring your hand down, bring your knee down. Curl your toes under. Look at your knees, push into your hands, and lift the hips up. This is down dog, and lots of people know this posture. If you ask kids to do a yoga pose, they go right to down dog. I'm going to pedal one heel and invite you to do that, and then the other to the floor. So you can feel the calves, hamstrings, ankles, Achilles, toes, getting that flexibility. Both heels press back at the same time. Push into your hands, lengthen your spine. It's very subtle. If your hamstrings are tight, you would be happier bending your knees, right, to take that strain out of the backs of your legs. Now, this is not very graceful, but let's do it anyways. Walk your feet up to your hands and your hands to your feet. And then hang forward in a ragdoll. If you have any unmedicated high blood pressure, glaucoma, detached retina, or any problem with having pressure behind your eyes, stay halfway, resting on your knees. If you're comfortable, hang all the way down. Touching the floor is not important. It doesn't matter. We all have different length legs, arms, torsos, levels of flexibility. It doesn't matter. Just hang down. Sway a little bit. It's a great place to let out a sigh. You could shake your head out like you're shaking salt out of a salt shaker, like you're shaking those stories of the future and past out of your brain. Shake them out. Then put one hand above your knee and the other, and walk your hands up the fronts of your legs. And you're going to get to standing straight the legs, roll the shoulders back and down, shake out your hands, shake out your feet, adjust, get comfortable, all right? Put your hands at your waist, separate your feet. You're going to do a couple of hip circles. So if you've been sitting a lot, or if you do that in your work, what happens is that your knees are bent in this position and your hips are held in this flexion. Lots of tightness. So here, you'll notice that as you press forward, it opens up the hip flexors and feels really good, right? It might also feel tender, or you might feel a little sore, but that's all right. We're just exploring. And then go in the other direction. I hold my waist, and go around and around, and circle around, and then come to stillness. Check your feet. All right, I'll turn this way for a moment, so that they're hip width apart. And that's kind of like a parameter. You might find that it's harder for you to do, but hip width is, my ankles are underneath my hip bones, not the sides of my hips, my hip bones. Shoulders back, crown of the head lifted. If you put your hands on your quads, you could squeeze them a little and they'd engage, and the shoulders go back. This posture is called mountain pose. It's kind of like anatomical neutral, right? If you see that Da Vinci picture, right? Just that beautiful balance, anatomical neutral. And what is important about this posture is it's not this, and it's not this. It's not that, right? Like this is I'm 1 foot ready to take a walk. Like, bye, I'm walking away from you. So we get grounded, and in mountain pose, the feet root down, the hands come to the heart, palms together. Right? That little soft smile and the eyes open, looking forward. Squeeze your quads, tails in a little, not tucked, so the pelvis is level. And in mountain pose, you start with your hands like this. Is the Anjaline Mudra. This is a symbol of respect for yourself, for one another, right? From that Eastern culture of where yoga emerged, right? The Eastern contemplative practices. Lace your fingers to steeple, slide your thumbs past your nose, brow. Stand tall. So you make the shape of the mountain, right? And there's that sense of really settling your feet to the ground. You might feel them pressing down into the carpet, into the wood, into the surface of the floor, to the earth beneath you. Mountain pose, shaped like a mountain, right? The quality of stability. Lean a little bit to the right. This is called Arda Chandrasana, half moon. So you make that crescent shape of the moon. And imagine this bright light, this like sliver of a moon here, and then the shadow that's connected. So union, yoga, connected. Up to center, across and over, and when you hold the pose, you breathe evenly in and out through the nose. And you just, maybe 3 breaths, maybe 5, the most. Come up to center. Separate your hands, look forward, open them out to the side and down. Let your hands rest, let your arms rest. Notice how your feet feel, how your body feels. Put your hands at your waist. We'll step out to the right, which would be the wide end of your mat if you were using a mat. And the feet are fairly wide, okay? Standing yoga poses bring stability and foundation and strength. And there's a little handful of postures. One flows into the other, and they're kind of pretty, and they feel really good to do together. So let's start by turning the right foot out 90 degrees. And that matters because it's alignment. And the left foot's angled in. Squeeze your quads. Reach your arms out to T. This is called triangle, Konasana, 3-angled posture. You lean over to the right, down. You feel the inner thigh stretch. Hold. Not a big grip, but just hold. And this arm, it might not go all the way up. You could have one of those shoulder sensitivities and have to be here or here. But if it does, and you've got the mobility, reach up and look up. And when you see this posture, you'll see a whole bunch of triangles. They're in the shadow places. They're in the outline of the pose, so it's named after the shape, triangle. And then you inhale, come up, moving breath and movement connected, and change directions with your feet. Set that left foot out, angle the right foot in, keep the chin and chest lifted and open, and tilt over to the left and then down. And maybe one side's different than the other. That's always interesting. It's very normal. If your neck is comfy and you look up. And then you have to look at something. I'm looking at my thumb. We call it a drishti, or a gazing point. And you take a few breaths here. And then you inhale and you come up. Strong thighs. Turn your toes in slightly like you're a little pigeon toed. Turn your thumbs down. Reach back. Clasp your hands behind your back. Can you squeeze tight and draw the shoulder blades back? Remember that? Weight on the shoulders. Look up, inhale. When you exhale, start to come down. And as you come down, you can stop about halfway. And as I said before, if there's any contraindications, you'd stop right here and say, this is enough. Your arms might feel like they're stuck or even down here at your back. If you've got some of that flexibility, which is kind of fun, but again, not necessary, they come up higher and you could go down lower. And they come up higher and you go lower and on you go. We call this yoga mudra, and it means the symbol of yoga. You drop the head down, lift the heart up, and remember that the thinking, planning doesn't have to happen in your brain. Let it spill out, and instead, listen, what does your heart desire? We named our studio Heartsong Yoga. What is the song in your heart? Inhale, you come up, and take your time. If you feel any kind of dizziness or discomfort, you just pause, right? There's no need to rush. Everything's slowed down. Then float your arms out. Turn your feet out. Turn your palms forward and lift the arms up. And this simple stretch is called five-pointed star. But what does it feel like when you reach your arms skyward and you look through the roof to the sky? What is the sense? It's always like victory, or yes, or yay, or I did it, whatever. You jump up and down, you reach your arms out, you're like, finish line, woof, right, after a long race. So have a sense of that, like, whoa, yes, reaching, looking, receiving, all the good stuff. Just let it come on down. And turn your palms down and look forward and swim your arms through and down. So there's tons of metaphor and poetry and play in the practice. Body, mind, spirit, heart. Heel toe your feet together or close. Step up to what I call the top of your mat with your feet hip width apart. Just a couple more standing poses. Hands at your waist. Find the gazing point out in front of you and soften your knees. Keep your right foot where it is. We're moving into warrior, Virabhadrasana, warrior one. And your left foot goes back. You're on the edge of your foot. Hands down. Inhale, rise up with your arms. Pinkies in, look up. Make that shape, all of the angles. You're opening up, as we say, pathways for the energy to travel. And then open the arms out to the side, look forward. I like to put my hands on the knees and step up and straighten up. Everything you do on one side, do on the other. So hands at your waist, soften into the knees. Step your right foot back. And you're on your edge. It's about heel to heel alignment. Draw back the left hip, squeeze the thigh, bent into the front knee, stabilizing, strengthening, open wide, reaching, and just consider what are the qualities of a warrior, right? The courage, the strength, fortitude, commitment. Right? This is a peaceful warrior, by the way. And hold. Bring your arms down, look forward and down, hand to the knee. Step up. Bring your feet together so the big toes touch, knees, ankles come close, as though you're about to sit down on a chair, Utkatasana, fierce pose, and drop the hips low and look up. And your hands are about shoulder width apart. It's like you've got something in your hands, you're just pressing it towards the sky. Fierce pose, chair pose. And then exhale, start to fold down. Separate your feet. Dangle your head. Soften into your knees. Put one hand above each knee. Come up, come up. Roll back your shoulders. Shake it out a little bit. Again, just noticing how you feel. And balancing. So many of our clients talk about balance. And so when we do balancing poses, I say, go to the wall. Or get next to a bookcase. Or something where you can reach out and hang on. Put a chair in front of you. My most elder client right now is 99 years old, and we're doing chair yoga outdoors, and it is such a blessing to be together. So we balance, and this posture is called tree, Vrikshasana, tree. So send roots into your left foot. Put your right heel against your ankle and squeeze the quad and bring your shoulders back. You're in that kind of mountain pose position, and your hands come to your heart. That foot stays like a kickstand or creeps up the edge of your calf, or some people put the leg up to the top of the thigh. I might be able to hold that. I might not, and it doesn't matter. You lace your fingers to steeple, slide your thumbs past your nose and brow, and reach up. The knee presses down. Whoa, you're holding all the shaking that happens. All the muscles are like firing and working to hold a tree posture. And that is the balance between the rootedness and the flexibility, right? The winds come, change comes, the hurricane blows through, and the tree can hold its ground. Maybe you make it wider. And you're breathing and smiling, and maybe you just trace that beautiful canopy and put your foot down. And same thing on the other side. Maybe different on the other side. Put your heel there, or all the way up. I'll stay down right now, hands to the heart, right? Because this is perfectly fine. Or even hanging on to something, and you lace your fingers and rise up. And if you feel confident, the foot could come up a little bit, come down, come up, come down. Right? Don't grimace, you smile. Eyes to one spot. Open, create the most beautiful shape that you can create for yourself. And then down and down, and gratefully 2 feet to the ground. Excellent training to be on one foot. Do it as often as you can. Hold on to a countertop, hold on to a sink. Let's get back to the top of the mat. Feet hip width apart. Put one hand over your heart, the other on top of it. Close your eyes. Remember the gratitude that you tucked into your heart, conjured up. Eyes open, hands down. Inhale, rise up, look up. Exhale, we're going down. Come on down. All the way down, bend your knees, bend your knees, bend your knees. Touch the floor. Walk your feet back to that down dog position, feet hip width apart, parallel. Press into your hands, pads, edges, curve of your thumb and first finger. Up on your toes, down on your knees. Big toes touch, bring the knees a little wide. Child's pose, you sit back to your heels. Put your hands one over the other. Take a moment. Turn around, get on your back. Bring your knees to your chest. Squeeze. Put your feet down, your hands down. Last posture, lifts hips off the ground, called bridge. And hold. And what can you do for yourself to build a bridge? Maybe a relationship, a space, a place. Safe travels. What's the bridge, right, for yourself? Bring your hips down. Stretch your legs out. And the most fun of all, and the reason people come to yoga, is Shavasana, corpse pose. I'm going to sit up and invite you to stay there for a little while if you like. And as you rest, there's always resting at the end of class. And it's really important. It's like an integration time. And I'd like to finish with one more piece of poetry from Dana Falls. She's a Kripalu poet, yogi. This book is called One Soul. And she says, "Who knows why life unfolds the way it does? Why we choose one path or another, share the way for a while or a day, and then say goodbye. There's no predictability here, and less control than we might wish. But there is a quiet urging of the heart and the knowing in the soul, the wisdom that's beneath the mind, accessible if we breathe and turn inside. When the tide of change rolls in, we can resist or be at peace, struggle or release. The stuff of life may not be ours to understand. It's enough to offer love, to receive the best and worst, to embrace and to say farewell. What matters most is to celebrate each moment of the journey. So again, that invitation to be in the present moment and to trust. When you're ready to roll to one side to come up to sit, you bring the palms of your hands back together in that Anjaline Mudra. And the greeting that we use in our yoga practice is Namaste. And Sanskrit, and it means the light in me sees the light in you, and that we are connected. So namaste, and thank you for joining me. Peace.
That was great. Thank you so much, Sheila. That was very relaxing, and I just feel super calm now. So I hope everyone else does too. Oh my God. Yeah, that was wonderful.
Thank you.
I would love to open it up to questions if people have any.
I do.
Go for it, Carol.
Okay, Sheila, I'm going in for major back surgery next week. And I'm not going to be allowed to twist or bend. What ones would you recommend for poses to give me some peace?
Well, that's a great question, Carol. And of course, everybody's situation is different. When people think about yoga, they do start thinking about the physical poses that you have to bend and twist and move. I think what's going to be really important for you, especially in the earlier days and the first couple of weeks, is focusing on breath, conscious, good, deep, even breathing, and that idea of quieting the mind. And it might be the meditation portion that is most important to start. And then that idea of just knowing that you're moving in the forward in the right direction. Healing is happening. There's no rush. When you're ready, and your doctors will tell you, and they'll release you and give you some parameters or a little bit of structure of what to do and what not to do, and then communicate with your teacher so that you take good care of yourself. No competition, no rush.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck. Best wishes.
Thank you.
That's a tough thing. So yes, any way you can make the healing process a little bit better is probably much appreciated. So.
There's my mind quiet.
Yes, there's a practice. It's called Yoga Nidra. It's spelled Nidra, Yoga Nidra. And it is a guided visualization and relaxation. And they're using it for therapy for PTS and trauma at Walter Reed Memorial Hospital for returning vets. It's been very highly, highly studied and recommended. And if you just Google that, Yoga Nidra, or I can send a link to Kelly and my friends who developed a program called Mindful Yoga Therapy has a free recording. And all you do is lie down and listen. And if you fall asleep, it doesn't matter. You do it again the next day. And if you fall asleep, it doesn't matter. Yeah. And it's really, really powerful. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's great. If you would share that would be wonderful. Thank you.
I'll send that to you.
Great. Thanks, Kelly. Thanks, Sheila.
Other questions folks have?
I have one, if that's okay.
Yes, please.
I was wondering, thank you, Sheila, for your instruction and your experience. And I was wondering what to tell myself when the teacher says, be sure you have a smile on your face, and there's a little voice inside that says, I don't feel like smiling. What do I tell that voice is my question.
I love that. We kind of discussed that in teacher training about my experience is not your experience, right? If I say, don't you love this? This is awesome. And you're like, are you kidding me? It's like, so what do you tell yourself? The smile is like a little inner smile. It's just a little sort of Buddha smile. And maybe it's just a reminder to not grit your teeth or clench, or have your brow furrowed. So it's not sort of like, I'm so happy smile. It's more like that kind of smile. Great
Thank you.
question, Elise. Yes. Mhm.
Namaste smile, right?
Yeah, that's it. You can
Hey,
say
Sheila.
no.
Congratulations on the winning the rave. Didn't you get the? I thought I saw that in the paper.
I did. I am so proud of our community and our teachers for voting us yet again. And I have to thank my mom. This is Beth over here, wherever she is on your screen. But she's so wonderful. My mom teaches 2 yoga classes a week with us at Heartsong Yoga. Zoom live stream at home to you at home, or coming into the studio. So she's my champion. And when the time comes to vote, she reminds people that it's time to vote. And I always get a little like embarrassed. And then I'm so grateful.
Vote for me.
Yeah. I mean, you don't win unless people vote, and the people vote if they want to. So
congratulations.
Thank you. It really, truly is a great honor, especially during this pandemic time, that we were able to stay open. Many of my colleagues and friends in my industry across the country had to just close. They could not maintain because of the mandates and the protocols and the challenges. So I'm just so grateful that we came through to the other side. Yeah.
Sheila, could I speak?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Just because somebody had mentioned reader raves, I am so thrilled each year when I see STIC chosen as our winning, college in the area. And I, as an adult, I didn't go to STIC like Sheila did as an undergrad, but as an adult, when I had to learn the computer and I had no clue about, like, is this thing on? Kind of thing. I just didn't know. And I took classes everywhere I could, at a high school, at a community center. But I think it was like maybe even 3 times I took an introductory class at STIC for introduction to computers. Wow. And that teacher saved my job. Honestly, she taught me so much and was so kind and so helpful. And I was teaching myself, and I retired June 30th, but we were on remote teaching the students. And without her, I think her name was like Debbie Dombrowski or something, but just absolutely, she was so wonderful. And they also had after school, after the classes in the computer lab, and she'd be there and she'd sit right down next to her students and guide them step by step. It's like STIC has a very high rank in our family and in my heart. So thank you all.
Thank you. That means a lot to us. That's great. We love hearing stories like that too, because when you get the reader raves, you're like, yay, that's great. But then when you hear how it individually affects people's lives, it means so much, Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing.
I also loved being a college student again. I loved the diversity in the classes.
Yeah.
And I loved the initiative of the students in the classes. They had other jobs. They had families. They were working very hard, and they were succeeding. So anyway, I'll mute myself again. But I love it.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing. It's true about our classes. They're very diverse in nature. I've worked at a couple other colleges, and never have I found the student body to be so unique as it is at STIC. The average student's age is 26. Most of them have full-time jobs, if not a couple of full-time jobs.
Yeah.
Larger families, they have so many things going on, and it's just really to push themselves through the school. So, we're always there to help them whenever we can. And, That's great. Thank you so much for sharing. And Keith shared in the chat the video to this year's Reader Raves Awards. So check it out later if you would like.
Yeah.
Kelly, I graduated from STIC 24 years ago, and I did all night classes. And at that time, they didn't honor the night classes with GPA of 3.5 and over.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they were not allowed to graduate with any of the Shaws. So I had an absolute fit. I went to the dean, I went everywhere. And that year they ended up letting us wear the graduate scarves.
You fought for the right. Yeah, I love it.
I honor.
Love it. That's super. That's great.
That's so great. I was just on Facebook the other day, and a little thread started to come through, and it was all my friends from STCC. Started with one comment, one of my buddies who didn't get a haircut for an entire year through COVID. And then he just posted a picture and he said, "What do you think? Should I get it cut?" And suddenly all of our buddies, people I haven't seen live in 15, 20, 30, they were all sending messages. It was like, this is so amazing. My friends, my buddies. I said that my mother would say, "Get the scissors and get a haircut."
Yeah, right? Oh, that must have been one heck of a. I love it. I actually have a question for you.
Yes.
So I live in this body where my mind is always like, oh gosh, yes, you must do meditation, you must do more relaxation, but my head goes out of control and it just doesn't do it, or my body doesn't agree with my head. So if I feel like, yeah, I want to do that, body's like, no, you don't. You just want to sit there and be kind of a bum. Any tips on how I can kind of slowly get started and calm my head down and just kind of get into it a little bit better?
It's so good. That's a great question. Well, I think that there's something out there that says you have to get it right, or that your mind should be quiet and you should be all zen and it's excellent and wonderful. But the mind isn't built to be completely still and quiet. So people say, "Oh, that was a terrible meditation. I'm a terrible meditator." And we always remind people that it's just practice, and that more practice in meditation doesn't make you a better meditator, but it helps you in life in this surprising way. Like, you don't get better at it, but you recognize you just begin to recognize responses, reactivity. You become more familiar with what the messages are from the body and the mind. And you start to tell yourself, you're training yourself, you're rewiring your brain through the practice. And it takes time and practice. So it's like, at the beginning, it's clunky and it's hard and we're judgmental. We don't think we're good enough. We don't belong here. And then you start to hear the messages from the teacher and from your own heart that says, "Oh, you're doing a good job. You showed up again. That's awesome. That was enough." It doesn't have to be bigger, better, or more. More is just more. It can be so simple. And it doesn't have to be like an hour and a half. It can be 10 minutes.
Okay.
Like that beginning section that I did where we just sat and kind of moved head, necks, and shoulders and did this. That's like awesome.
All right, I'm gonna do it. You've inspired me.
Good. I'll check in.
I will. I gotta get my head. I'm gonna watch the video a couple times. And
you do need a teacher and a guide. When I first went to yoga, it was when it was first suggested that I go to yoga, I said, I did yoga. I don't like it. I'm not good at it and I don't like it. And then they said, well, try this class. So the style of yoga matters as well. Because what I had tried before was in this big gym and everything was so exact. You had to put your pinky toe exactly in the right spot and like just slightly move your shoulder. And I was out of my mind. I was like, my life is, I have enough of that in my world. And then when I went to the yoga class where the teacher said, you're perfect just the way you are. Just breathe and be and enjoy. And I was like, oh, really?
That's what you want to hear.
It is what you want to hear, not that you're,
Yeah.
striving
Not
or
doing it
efforting.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's it too. Like, my husband and I, we often are, we try to do like stretching and different things like that, and it's like you got to modify it because we have short legs, or different things. Like you're like,
Oh,
reach it way, over here and twist like a pretzel. But I suppose if you do it at your own pace and find your groove, that probably is one of the best things you can do. Right?
Yeah, that's one of the gifts of the online learning, the YouTube videos and the live stream, is that you could go to a class, turn off your video, no one sees you. You can be in your look at my mom's in her kitchen. You can be anywhere in your house and just do what you can do. And then we have students who are injured or are coming back from surgeries. They come to class, and what they do is they sit and they breathe and they imagine and they do the little bits that they can, and they love it.
Awesome.
Even though they can't do the whole thing, they still come.
Great.
that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Truly 100% welcoming of all types. Oh, that's great.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I believe
Yeah.
it. I believe it. This
Yeah.
made me feel so calm and welcome. Just a happy place.
Yeah, it's just that. It's just the calming of the nervous system,
Yeah.
the
I
quieting,
need that
turning
right
on.
now.
Yeah. And by the way, the guys who are here, Keith is here and Thomas, men come to yoga too, as well.
Cool.
The guys do practice.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again. This has been tremendous. And we will definitely share out the link to the video with you and everyone else who was not able to join us today, so they can check it out and see all the wonderful things that are happening here. So I
Thank
thank you all for joining us to spring into wellness. And I hope everyone has a wonderful summer and all the good things moving forward. And Sheila, again, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it tonight.
My pleasure. I'm happy
Thank you
to
so much.
Thank
support.
you.
Yeah.
All right. Goodbye. Keith, thank you for your time.
Good
Thank
night.
Kelly, bye.
you.
Bye, Elise.
Bye.
Bye, Carol. Tom,
Hi,
Sarah.
Kelly.
Bye, Kelly. Bye, Mom.
See you later.